No problem. Okay, so let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Okay, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to hop onto our website first. So of course we are Cisco's cloud managed portfolio, so that, and I know you have some exposure to the dashboard using our firewall, but we also of course have our wireless access points, all of our security boxes with built-in SD-WAN capabilities, switches, Meraki Insight. So this is actually licensing that sits on top of our firewall and monitors any web-based applications or your internet service provider connection. Of course, we have mobile device management, and I think that with you guys moving forward and rolling out your new computer lab and Chromebooks, this is definitely something that we can talk about and hopefully evaluate again in the future.
Okay.
And then we also have our security cameras. And so, of course, all of our hardware does operate on a licensing model. So, as I'm sure you are aware, with our firewall, we have our advanced or our enterprise licensing, but that works across the board with all of our products as well. And what that licensing provides is access, of course, to the dashboard, along with lifetime hardware warranty on everything other than our security cameras, 24/7 support, firmware upgrades. So, it essentially acts as your controller. And so, as far as K through 12 and the education space, really where we see the value of Meraki is that, and I didn't really get a chance to ask you about you and your IT team, but a lot of the times we see that maybe it's a math teacher or a PE teacher who's also tasked with having to monitor the network completely.
That's me, actually.
And so that. And
I am the IT.
Robert.
I am the IT, so, and I'm a teacher as well.
Full IT.
Yeah.
Right. So we really want to be able to provide, enterprise class level networking equipment and really the ease of using the dashboard. So you're able to set up your network, monitor it, whether that's on-site or remotely through that dashboard, and that's our entire product portfolio. So you really get the time back in your day to focus on your other priorities. For instance, setting up your computer lab or working on, whatever else that you guys have outside of networking. And so I will definitely follow up with you after this call with a few of our K-12 education deployment guides and customer stories, just because I think it's great to be able to read about what others have done in that space and how it's really helped them.
Sure.
But we'll go ahead and we'll hop onto our dashboard here. And so this is just for our demo network here, but we actually just recently hit our 2 million active network mark. So that was pretty awesome to see. I started here about a year ago, and that was at 1 million. So, within a year time, we were able to really double that number. And as you can see here, we, of course, have some really great education customers. And again, I'll be able to share some of those customer stories with you, too. So I'm going to go ahead and hop into our corporate network. And as far as this page goes, I'm sure you're quite familiar, Robert. This is, very similar to what your dashboard looks like as well. So, of course, we have on here our control tab. And so you guys, of course, have your network-wide and your organization tab. But as you add in more product with Meraki, these tabs will populate as well. So, for you guys, we don't have our security tab on here. We actually have that on another network. But for you guys who have your security, and then if you guys were eventually to move forward with wireless, that would all be within the same page here. And I think as far as, moving into the future, how many devices we see that students bring on the campus and that, our faculty are using, I think that providing a really reliable wireless network is hugely important for both your student retention and just the overall experience for both your students and your faculty. And so I think that, moving forward, I hope that's really something that we can help you guys out with, because it just makes such a huge difference in the day-to-day, and being able to manage that on the student side as well, too, because we know that, and as I'm sure you guys have seen, when students are bringing their own devices onto campus, they can obviously see that as a huge distraction, but they can, stumble upon inappropriate content. And so we want to ensure that you guys are really able to provide that wireless network that's both secure and very reliable. So we'll go ahead and we'll hop into our wireless access points here. And so at a very high level, and this would be very similar to your security page, this is what it's going to look like for all of the different access points that we have in our environment. So at the very high level here, we'll be able to tell if we have any of our access points that are offline. So that would be the red iconography. If they're alerting at all, that would be yellow. And then as you can see here, all of ours, all 178 are good to go connection-wise. And then we'll get a full breakdown here of some additional information about each individual access point. So their status, if they're currently connected, a little bit of information about where that sits within our building, the model that it is, the overall connectivity, and then a few dynamic tags here. So we separate ours out by exactly which floor they are on within our building and really which team that's tied to. And so, again, just at a very high level here, you'd be able to go in and see, hey, is there anything going on with any of my access points? If maybe any of your students or teachers were experiencing connectivity issues, you'd be able to identify quickly which access point that is. And then as far as customization, all of these tabs here, we have a few other options here that you can add on, or you can remove any of these. So again, it's very customized to what makes sense to you and what you want to see when you're logging on. And so if I were to go into one of these access points specifically, let's go, since I sit on the second floor, we'll do that. So I can search here by those tags. So I'll go ahead and click in here. And so this is actually going to pull up a specific access point within our environment. And we have Google Map integrations here, so you guys are able to lay your floor plans down and add in where all of your access points are within your building. So again, for troubleshooting issues, it's just very easy to identify where that is. Okay. And this is going to provide some live data for this specific access point. So the uplink traffic that's currently passing, all of the clients, unique clients here that are currently connected to this access point. As far as association here, as you can see through each step, our connection's good. And then some historical data, so the connectivity throughout that day. And then if you ever see a drop down here, we can either expand that out to see up to the last month or drill that down to see the last 2 hours. Okay. And then again, these are all the different clients here that are connected to this access point.
Okay, so you for each access point, you can tell who's logging on or who's accessing it through there.
Exactly.
Oh, that's good. Neat.
And so...
Oh, and it also shows how much each particular client is using or has used. As far as
I'm sorry, what was that, Robert?
I see usage. Is that the each client has used thus far?
Right. So this is going to, and we'll go into one of these specific users here, but this is going to give their usage of bandwidth.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, and we'll definitely click into one of those here, but just to finish off this page here, a few other tabs, you'll be able to see an event log, so everything that's happened on that access point, again, the exact location within your campus. It's going to take a minute to load, but that essentially will show you where every single access point is. And then we also have some remote troubleshooting tools. So again, Robert, that you're the sole person who's managing this network, so you're able to go in, ping the device, make sure it's responding, blink the LEDs, so in case you had somebody on site helping you out and needed to find out where the access point was. We can run a throughput, trace route test. So just some really easy to use tools for you guys. Mm-hmm. This is going to show you a little bit more information as far as connecting via Radius server. And then we also have our RF tab here. So this is actually something that we more recently added to the dashboard. And because we are able to send you out those firmware upgrades through the cloud, this is something that all of our current wireless customers saw on their dashboard as we released that. And so we're able to drill this down by specific radio, so whether that's the 2.4, the 5 gigahertz, and then again, really expand this out or drill it down a little bit here to see what events were occurring. So we'll see the events, the clients that we're connecting, and what time throughout the day. Again, channel utilization. of our access points do have 4 dedicated radios, so that would be both the 2.4, the 5, and then we also have a dedicated security radio. So in the background, it's constantly scanning for any rogue SSIDs or any malicious access points there. So you can really rest assured that that's operating in the background really without any activity on your end.
Okay.
And then if we go back to the summary page there, I could actually go in. We'll go to our clients page, and I'll show you. We'll go through my device there. But as you can see here, we're able to see all of the access points in our network down to one specific.
Mm-hmm.
And our clients page here, so this is something that you would have under your network-wide tab.
Mm-hmm.
So this, again, is going to give me some more information about all of the different clients that are currently connected to my network and what they're doing on my network. So I think for you guys, specifically with your students' cell phones or their personal devices, this is a really great way to get some insight and to really be able to shape your network and make configurations based off what they're doing. So as you can see here, this is going to just give me a graphical information as far as when my clients are connecting throughout the day. Again, here, this is going to list every single device that's currently connected to my network. It's going to give me some information as far as if it's a wired or wireless client. Green obviously means they're currently connected. And then their usage, what operating system they're using, and again, just some more information there. Of course, you're able to go in, add, and remove anything. But let's go ahead, and then overall, as far as all of your clients, this is going to give an application breakdown. So every single application that's being used and really what type of bandwidth is being allotted to that application. So as you can see here, for the most part, not everything, it's Friday, so people are watching Netflix and Hulu and HBO Go. And so, as far as those who need to get their work done and have that bandwidth allotted to them, we can actually go into that specific application and see who is contributing to that role the most.
Who's contributing? I'm sorry?
And who's using that application the most. So as you can see here, this individual is using about 47%. So if I was to go back here, and let's say I wanted to take a look at my specific device. So I'll type my name in there. And as you can see here, it'll pull up both my iPhone and my MacBook. So I'm going to click into that. And so now this is going to give me some more insight and information as far as my specific device and what I'm doing on the network. So as you can see here, I'm connected to our corporate SSID. So of course there's some protocols and rules in place if you are to connect to our corporate network. And similarly, you guys would be able to create those SSIDs and separate it out maybe from faculty and students. So you again can scale back what the students are able to access when they're on their network in comparison to the faculty, so giving them more leeway. This is going to tell me exactly which access point I'm connected to. Again, just some additional information about my device, my overall usage for the day, and then my specific application breakdown. So as you can see here, some of these are grayed out, but that's because I don't have full administration rights. Obviously, Robert, you would see everything on there. And from this page, so let's say that you have a more problematic student who you can tell is always distracted by their phone. I would actually be able to go in and set a policy per client here. So I'd be able to go in, I either have the option to whitelist, so no bandwidth limits or splash page, free reign essentially over the network. I'd be able to block them completely, and you could say something along the lines of CIT or, whatever the case may be there. I would be able to add them into a group policy, so we have a few built out here, as you can see, bandwidth abuser, and I can show you too where you would actually go in and create those rules, block Facebook, so.
And you'd be able to customize some of the policies as well? I'm sorry.
What was that?
You said you could customize additional policies?
Yes, and I can show you. That's on a different page, but I can definitely show you how to do that too.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
And then you're also able to set the different policies for whichever SSID I'm connecting to. So maybe on our corporate network, or for you guys, maybe for your student network. we're going to block Facebook. But for our guest network, we'll keep that normal. We're not going to really scale anything back there. So whichever SSID I'm connected to specifically, I can shape those rules around that.
Okay.
I can go ahead and ping my device. And so this is going to give us a breakdown of our systems manager profile. So as any of our employees here at Meraki access our corporate network, they're automatically enrolled into systems manager, And so what that means here is that a set of applications are going to be pushed out to them. And so for you guys, depending on which applications your students use, you'd be able to automatically, as they access the network, push out those applications to them and, again, monitor them while they're on the network. So making sure they're not a jailbroken device, making sure that they're completely compliant with the standards you've set. And so there's no room for error there.
I see.
And then, any other questions so far, Robert, before I switch gears here?
Does this almost act like an MDM?
Systems Manager does, yes.
Okay.
What I showed you up here, though, this is all just being connected to our wireless network.
I see.
So if you had our access points in place, you would have these views within your dashboard. But this portion here, Systems Manager, this will populate if you guys have our mobile device management on your devices.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No problem. So just to cover a few things quickly here. And you guys, I'm sorry, I didn't check the time here. I know we had this call set until 8:45. Are you guys? Do you both have a hard stop then? Is it okay if we go over a little bit?
It's fine. I'm fine. I don't know about Cody.
Okay. Well,
I'm going to jump, but if I have to jump, you guys can keep going. But I should be fine.
Okay, great. If you guys need to hop off, please just let me know. No problem. So again, our access points do have that dedicated security radio. So this is going to, again, proactively be scanning the network to make sure that there's no rogue SSIDs that are connecting, spooks. So we'll see people who will attempt to set up an SSID that looks very similar to one of ours to essentially fool people into connecting.
Right.
So again, knowing that this is operating in the background, really with no effort on your end, unless you're, other than really just scheduling here when we're scanning and making sure that we're blocking clients from connecting. And then I could go in here if I'm aware of a website that I know is malicious, and I can blacklist that, so no one will be able to access that on my network. And then also SSID whitelist here, so ensuring that all of these different MAC addresses are able to connect.
So does this, Natalie, because this seems very similar to the filter. So is this on top of what filter settings are a set? Kind of they work hand in hand?
As far as your security device?
Right. So this is just for security wise, or I mean, this is for.
There's an OpenDNS right now for content filtering.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this would just be on the wireless side. We do have the ability to do content filtering and traffic shaping on the wireless level, which I'll go into next.
Sure.
But as far as if you guys were using the MX security device, that also has its own content filtering capabilities.
Sure.
So, again, you have the ability to be redundant, both with your wireless and your security, and then we can do it just on our wireless as well. So, and then quickly, this is just a pretty cool page I wanted to show you guys, but this is going to give us a heat map of our wireless activity throughout the day. So as you can see here, we'll zoom in that way. So this is going to give us, this is our building here. And if I play this back, this is going to give me an idea of where my clients are connecting throughout the building and really how often throughout the day. So this is a great tool to ensure that you have your access points hung in the right place and, again, knowing where your students are spending their time. So in the case you guys were going to put up maybe posters for an event, you guys could get a really great idea here of where your students like to spend their time.
Sure.
And then I'll quickly cover our wireless health page. So again, this is going to give us a little bit more information about when our clients are connecting to our access points and where we're seeing any issues. It's also going to be able to give me a breakdown of if that's happening more frequently on a specific device, if that's happening more frequently on a specific operating system. So again, just providing a little bit more insight into what's happening on your wireless network. And then if I switch over here, this will show me, okay, so we're seeing quite a few devices operating on Mac OS having difficulties connecting. And then if I switch over to connections here, that's where I'll get a breakdown of through the authentication process where we're seeing the issues. So as we can see here, association going quite well, authentication we dip a little bit. So again, just being able to really identify what's going on and where the issue lies. As you can see here, Zachary had quite a few failed connections, so again, another way to quickly be able to troubleshoot. And then, so as far as your wireless network now, do you guys just have one SSID that everyone connects to? Do you guys have that separated out?
As far as I know, we only have one, right, Cody?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Say it again.
I was curious if you guys had separate SSIDs within your wireless network, or you guys just had everybody join one.
I think there's a couple. I mean, it's on the Meraki controller, so it's an older controller. But I think we have two, right?
I honestly I don't know. I don't recall.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been a while. It's been at least a year or so since we touched the wireless stuff.
Okay, so I think that being able to really build this out and customize each SSID for who you guys will have connecting is a great way to ensure that everybody has that wireless access. But again, there's maybe certain people on our network we don't want accessing certain things or doing certain things. So I think that K through 12 side, we'll see some of our schools do an SSID for their faculty specifically, one for their students, and then one for their guest network. And so I can go in here and edit these settings. And so let's say you guys wanted to set up a guest network. So, when you guys had family visiting for any sort of sporting events or whatever you guys have going on, they would have to go, essentially go through a splash page, which could link your guys' website and have to click through that. So again, just a few different association options that you guys have. So we have our set to Systems Manager Century enrollment. So our Systems Manager licensing works hand in hand with our wireless access points in the sense that as somebody joins this specific ID or our network, they'll be prompted to enroll in Systems Manager. So for our corporate network specifically, and perhaps for your student network, you guys could set it to that and to ensure that, again, you guys have that visibility and control when they're on the network. So just a few other options there that we have. And then I'll go ahead and switch over to our firewall and traffic shaping. And then separately, I'm going to open up this. So if I went to, again, that was under network-wide group policies here. This is where I could go in and configure when we were on our individual client, and I was able to choose from a few different pre-built out options. This is where we would go in and add that group here. So again, I would be able to, if I wanted to block Facebook completely or a specific application, and then I would be able to go in and add those layer 7 application rules there. And so when I come back to here on firewall and traffic shaping on our access point level, I could go in, add a layer 7 firewall rule. And so if I wanted to deny, say, all gaming, I'd be able to do that. And then I would be able to traffic shape this in the sense that I could scale back the bandwidth being allocated to this application by specific client, or I could do it by an entire SSID. So again, if I wanted to make sure that my students, weren't accessing any gaming when they're on our network, I would be able to do that by SSID here and completely scale that back.
We definitely need that.
Yes. Those students can't be trusted sometimes. So again, very, very simple for you guys to configure and providing that level of control that I think you guys want and would like to see in the future too.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really a great, high-level overview of our wireless. Of course, there's a lot more options and configurations here that we can get into, but I know for the purposes of this call, I will just go ahead and switch over to our switching and just kind of give you a quick overview there.
Okay.
So again, we really want to standardize across our entire product portfolio so that when you go to this page, you know exactly what you're looking at and exactly what you need to find. So much like our wireless access point, this would give me an idea of all of the different switches I have in my environment and what's currently going on with them. So as I can see here, we have 2 that are alerting. So if I wanted to go and click into one of those to see what was going on. So as we can see here, a power supply is offline. So again, we'll get some more information. As you can see here, this is going to give me a breakdown of every individual port I have on that switch. So anything with the lightning bolt there being PoE enabled. Again, very similar to that wireless page where we'll see some historical data of that switch. And then this is also going to give me some more information on this side as far as which closet we're connected to. Since this one's offline, though, I'm not going to be able to really see that. So let's go ahead and switch over to one that is. And then, again, we have some of those remote troubleshooting tools very similar to our access points. Some of the more powerful ones here is that we're actually able to run a cable test remotely, cycle the ports. And so a really cool feature within our switching portfolio is our topology page. So I'm going to go ahead and click into this. And so this is going to provide a detailed, essentially, visual of your network and where and how everything is connected. So I clicked into that switch specifically, so I'll be able to see that switch lies within this switching stack here. And then it's going to show me how we're traveling through and how we're getting out to our edge device and then out to the wide area network.
Cool, that's neat.
So it's pretty amazing, and I know that traditionally people would have to map this out manually, and it could take a lot of time. And so this is actually going to be dynamic. So if you move anything from your network, it's going to automatically change here. And so, again, this is just going to give me all of my endpoints here, which switch we're connected to. So really, as far as troubleshooting goes, from this high level, you'd really be able to tell where the issue lies. Anything here with a blue triangle is a non-Meraki device, so we'll give you some more information as far as the Cisco switch here. Of course, you're not able to manage on the dashboard, but at least you know where it sits within your network.
Mm-hmm.
And then on our switch as well, I'm going to switch over. Wow, how many times can you say switch in one sentence? So this is going to give you a breakdown of every single switch port we have in our environment. So I believe we have about 6,000, so it takes a little bit of time to load here. Obviously for you guys it would be much less, but this is a way to be able to see every single switch switch port that's in our environment and go ahead and make configurations that are passed through all of those switch ports. So rather than going in and individually configuring that, I'm able to, so let's say I wanted to enable PoE on these 5 switch ports here. So I could go in, click edit, and then I have all of these different options. I can enable that PoE, change this from access to trunk. So again, really saving you guys time, and rather than having to, painstakingly go into each port, just being able to do that across the board. And then outside of that, you guys are also able to go in and add a port schedule. So in the case you guys wanted to turn these ports off after school hours or whatever the case may be, we could do that here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go ahead and, I know for the interest of time here, I'm going to pull up our systems manager. And Robert, I know you guys had previously looked at this. Did you guys see the dashboard for our mobile device management?
I think so, yes.
Okay. So just to quickly go over this, as we had spoken about before, I know that this might not have been a good fit for you guys with the BY bring your own devices, but moving forward with your computer stations and your Chromebooks,
Mm-hmm.
this would be a great way to ensure all your students have every single application that they need on their device.
Right.
Doesn't want to load for me today.
That was one of our things that it's just come up too. As far as right now, we're using AirWatch to control where applications are sent out to students on their iPads.
Okay.
But since they're not going to have that need necessarily, I'm not too sure if we're going to keep that MDM or if we're just going to try something that's cheaper, because they're not cheap.
Yeah.
So for us, a small school.
Absolutely. And, for us too, ours is on so essentially for each device that you have, you'll need a separate license for that.
Right.
But this is definitely something that we can definitely provide you guys some great pricing with.
Okay.
And so I'd be able to go in and configure dynamic tags for a subset of devices. So as you can see here, we have one for student. We have one for if you're connecting to our corporate network. So again, you apply those dynamic tags to each device, and then you'd be able to push out applications by those tags and just really be able to organize your devices in that way. That makes it a lot easier for you guys. And then we also, of course, do you guys use the Apple purchasing program?
I was just about to ask you, would our VPP, because we still have we have content on there, obviously, that we still want to use. So I guess it would just be something we could switch or apply to this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it is integrated here. So let's say I wanted to go in and push out Teams to all my devices, Google Chrome. I'd be able to do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
The nice thing here, Robert, too, is we like this one dashboard. So you don't have logins for 4 locations. It's wireless, switching, firewall, content filtering. You have one login.
Right. And that would be really nice to have to.
And absolutely, and one support line to call into as well.
Yes, that is phenomenal. Something I put it in real fast. I don't know, because this is growing for us. But Robert, do you have cameras on campus? Like, do you manage the security cameras?
We do, and it's they're all with the devices. The recording devices are on campus. So we monitor, but it's a completely different system that we use for security cameras. And as a matter of fact, we've been trying to get, because we own property across, there's a highway that goes next to our school. And across the street there, we want to be able to put cameras back there, but we haven't been able to. So that was something we were looking into as well. I noticed that when you were showing me all the options here as far as cameras, and caught my attention as far as what you would have be able to offer and how they could be monitored and so forth.
Yeah, and we can go into that.
Yeah, you can do it. It's there's a mobile app for it for your phone. It's easy. It's basically plug and play, and then it's all monitored, and she can go into more details. But I know we've seen a huge rise in this the past, I don't know, probably 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Just because it's easy all in one. You don't have like a recording device separately, kind of all in one with the camera, and then it access to the cloud as well. So it's pretty snazzy.
That's great.
So
Yeah.
Cody's absolutely right there. So with our system, that eliminates any need for any on-site storage. So any NVR, DVR, where you have to go in and manually sift through the hours upon hours of footage to find what you need. All of our footage is actually stored on the device here, on the actual camera. And the only time that's passing through the cloud is when you are viewing it remotely. So
I see.
At the time when you don't have that footage pulled up, it's at rest. And then again, as you guys access that footage, it's being passed through the cloud.
I see. Now, how much does and how long does it save information for?
So that depends. So we have a few. It really depends on how you configure the settings. Is where you'll see a change in your retention time, and I can show you and go into that a little bit. But we can see anywhere from 10 days up to 90. So it really just depends. And then we also have additional licensing that can be put on top of that. So if you guys have cameras in any sensitive area where you needed to keep footage for, say, like 60 to 90 to 120 days, you'd be able to add that licensing on top of it as well to ensure you had that footage for longer.
Yeah, I just saw.
There's a few different options. So
right.
So we actually just released our MV32, so that's our fisheye camera. So whereas before, I'll show you guys one of our other models here. So they're actually building the Uber building right behind us.
Oh, really?
So as you can see here, this is the field of view with our 180 varifocal lens. So I'm able to digitally zoom, but this is going to be the entire field of view. And then I'll go ahead and show you guys our newer camera, which is pretty awesome. So this is our 360 fisheye with digital PTZ. See, where is it? Here we go. So it's our MV32 model. Roughly the same specs as our varifocal lens, but this is going to be the view from the fisheye. So as you can see here, complete fisheye view. These little black boxes here are actually privacy windows. So if you guys had sensitive areas, you'd be able to add those into your view. And we see a lot of our K-12 schools share administration with their local police department. So at any time, the police department can actually hop on to the dashboard. It would only show up with cameras, so they wouldn't be able to access anything else within your network, but they'd be able to remotely view that footage. So in the case that an incident happened, they'd be able to very quickly respond and see the footage themselves.
Right.
And so this is going to be that 360 view. I can go in and actually de-warp that. So that would be our digital PTZ. So this isn't actually happening on the lens. It's happening on the back end. And then I can go in with my mouse pad here and scroll around and just get a different view.
That's good. That's neat.
And then let's say that I was aware that an incident occurred, maybe a student's backpack was stolen, and I knew that it happened in this area here, but I wasn't quite sure when that happened. So I can actually go in, there we go. Oh, does not want to let me do this. Okay, well, it's not going to let me do the motion search for some reason.
Sorry.
So we'll switch that into, let's say I knew when the event occurred, but I didn't know where exactly within this field of view here that it occurred. I can go in here. Let's say that happened at 1 p.m. yesterday. And this is going to pull the footage from 1 p.m. yesterday here. So again, I'm really able to quickly access the footage that I need.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to try to reload this. I would love to show you guys the motion search.
Yeah, that's a really cool feature. You can probably change camera. There you go.
There we go. Okay, so again, let's say I knew a backpack was stolen over here. So I go ahead and highlight that specific area I was looking into. And this is going to pull composite images of the motion that occurred over 3 seconds in that area. So as you can see, it looks like it's a bunch of different people here, but this is actually just one person, and this is showing an image of her moving through that,
I think she
that
took
area
it.
there. And then I can go ahead and play that video. And so that would pull that exact footage and show me, okay, here's the perpetrator, walking through the frame, stealing the backpack. So she'll walk through there at some point. So again, just very, very easy for you guys to locate the footage that you need. And then we have a few different options as far as sharing that footage. So there's a shareable link here that essentially someone would click into and be able to pull up this exact footage. I can export that via JPEG. And then again, I'm also able to give administration rights to others outside of my organization that I know I need them to be monitoring my footage. This is going to give us, our cameras are also sensors, so they're able to count people and being able to distinguish what's a person versus what's an inanimate object or an animal. And so this would be able to provide you guys with some statistics as far as, where you're seeing the students the most throughout your building, at what time are they coming through that area. And so that's going to give me a breakdown of hour by hour. And then it's also going to provide a heat map. So again, I'm able to see here, okay, at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., that's where we're seeing the most people come through this area here. Obviously, that's our coffee bar back there, so everyone's getting coffee at that time. So again, just providing some statistics for you guys.
Great, that's neat.
And then I'll just go over to settings here. So as we had talked about before, there's different retention options. So if I switch over to that tab here, so as you can see with everything on the highest settings, we have about 4 days of retention. But if I were to specifically schedule when we were when we were recording, I can also enable motion-based retention. So that's going to delete footage any older than 3 days with no motion detected. So you see the one from 4 days to 12 days. And then if I go back to 1080p here as far as resolution, standard video quality, we get all the way up to 62 days. So really depending on how you configure the settings is how you'll get that retention.
Yeah.
And so, I'll go right ahead.
No, I was just saying that some of the areas on campus, like the right across the street where we have, we actually own a barn and a farm area, and those places don't get visited a lot on a regular basis. So those are the areas that we kind of wanted to keep a camera in. But we would need definitely at least 2 to 3 months of where we could go back, because like I said, we may not go there in that time frame, but when we do go and we've noticed something happened, we'd like to see, okay, how far back can we go to see when something happened.
Right, and so in that case, we could either go in and enable the motion-based retention. So if there's nobody coming through that camera, that field of view there, it's just going to delete that footage and then be able to store footage for a little bit longer. Or we could add the cloud archive licensing on top of that, and then that way you're ensuring that you're getting 60, 90, or 120 days of retention.
Okay.
So again, we don't see that really deployed across all cameras within an environment. We generally see that, like you were speaking to, that's a specifically sensitive camera where you need that footage to last. So we would see the cloud archive licensing deployed there.
Okay. And do you have, because I know my business manager, one of the first things she's going to ask is, well, how expensive is that? And do you have a plan that I might, do you have it on your website or something that I can access?
Yeah, so we do actually have our list price on our website here. I will say to look at that with a grain of salt, because it's a lot higher than what you're actually going to end up paying. So when I work with somebody like Cody at AIS, who's a certified Meraki partner, we're going to be able to apply a lot more discount to the price you'd be seeing here.
Okay, well, good.
But, and again, I think a lot of people will take a look at our website, they'll see our sticker price and think that they can't afford it or it's not going to be, a good fit for them. But I really would challenge you to, let Cody and I come up with pricing and show you that it is definitely something that you guys would be able to move forward with.
Okay, sure.
But as you can see here, pricing will be there, but again, that's not going to be the end result there. So.
Okay.
And that's really all I have. Was there anything else I could cover while we're on this call, Robert, or Cody? Anything else you can think of?
No, I think we hit all the good things. I know these run things and changes, but kind of our role is to hey, look, get us all out there because we don't know every detail of school and everything, and Robert does. So if I can kind of think over the whole suite, he can say, hey, this is going to be some great stuff. Can't use this. I can use this. This is interesting. But education or knowledge is king. So I want to make sure he saw what was there. And the thing with Meraki, which I like, is you can do a lot with a little. So it's management's huge, and with troubleshooting, that to me is there's 17,000 access points out there, but they all tout they can do things. But what happens when it goes down or there's a problem? That's kind of what to me defines technology. And kind of when you get punched in the mouth, then how does it work? So that's kind of what I just focus on. And Rocky is by far the leader there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate those kind words.
I do have one possible question. Sorry. No problems. And that is because I know that with the changes in having like a computer lab or shareable devices now, being able to track who's using the device and when, and say there was an incident at one point and we needed to pinpoint, okay, who was using that particular device. That is something that I'm now trying to narrow down the best way to be able to do that because it's obviously changed from the iPads. So is there something with either the APs or something else that you offer that can help us with that particular?
So identifying who exactly was using what device.
Right. I mean, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that, of course, with our access points, it's going to show you a little bit more information as far as what device and what's coming onto your network. And then as a, added layer of security with Systems Manager, we're able to geofence devices. So if they are, go out of a certain level of our campus, that they're going to be shut down, we're able to remotely wipe them, again, if they're stolen. So... Mm-hmm. And so on the access point side, that would be if I were to go into my client's page here. And then again, I would have a full breakdown of every single device that was connecting to my network. So you guys would be able to narrow down through this list as well.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm just thinking because before we had OpenDNS, we had Barracuda.
Okay.
And so every student needed to log in basically every day or at least once every 2 or 3 days. I forget the settings we had back then. But they had to use their credentials to log on to their devices. Okay. And so now that... we're going to have to do that on a computer lab. I'm just curious to know if, because I see how you have your clients here, but... I
see what you're saying. So let's say they were using one of your computers within your computer lab.
Correct.
And you guys had that open. You wouldn't know exactly which student was necessarily on that computer. Exactly.
Well, right, I'd like to know, for them to be able to log on and off so that, if something happens, we don't have to go try to figure out who did what by,
And no, I'm pretty sure you can do it, but we can do AD integration, correct?
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to
Robert, we can integrate Active Directory, which is the student database on the server, with the Meraki.
Right.
And that way, when they log into Windows, that also authenticates in the Meraki, and then you can trace the student across the network based on their log. You have to log in with someone's credentials to follow it, but it's based off their login for Windows credentials.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that was my thought as far as the first thing that I thought, okay, we're going to have to go back to using Active Directory more than, I mean, this past year has been really nice not having to kind of fuss with that. But, okay, so, yeah, no problems.
I mean, yeah, you can set up, accounts in Meraki, if you wanted to. It's just more tedious to set up, your two locations. You do AD, you can sync them, so it's a little easier to use.
Okay.
To use a third party, with the AD or a Jump Cloud or maybe even Google directory service. But I'll look at the integrations. I know AD works for sure, but then I'll look further as far as how many things you have that we're syncing and who's the owner and so forth.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Right. And again, we could have, the specific SSID setup that your students are connecting to, and you're already, throttling back that bandwidth or setting those specific, restrictions within that network. So when they are logged on, they're not able to do anything crazy.
Sounds good.
Cool. So I would say, Robert,
I've got to jump, but I will go to call coming in. So if you guys take your time to break, and then wrap. Any questions, let me know, but I got to jump on a call real quick.
No problem.
All right, Cody. Thanks for setting this up. Have a great day.
Thanks, Cody. Take care.
Yeah, and Robert, just to wrap up here, I know that your guys' priorities kind of shift with this computer lab that you now really have to focus on, but I would love to stay in touch. Again, I'll follow up on this call with a few of our customer case studies for K-12, and then we also have the ability to trial any of our gear. So, when you guys are ready to circle back to that conversation about your wireless, I would love to get you guys a few different access points.
Okay.
So again, you can set that up at your school. That's no credit card required, no risk to you guys at all, and just test it out in your environment, have the access to the dashboard, and really get used to using this type of interface.
Sure, and I have one more question for you, because our building is a little bit on the older side, and to be able to get landlines into the area that we're going to set up the computer lab, it's going to be a nice project for me, summer project. But, I mean, I'm thinking, with APs being able to be situated, I mean, that might be something that is an option versus, drilling holes and running, I don't know how many wires into that. So I'm more thinking out loud, honestly, than.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, Robert, anytime that you're ready to test out that gear, just let me know, and we'll send you a few units.
How many to say desktop computers would one AP be able to handle input from? Just curious. We actually don't make those specifications available because it depends on a lot of factors, such as if there's interference. But if I'm, a lot of our schools we see do a one-to-one deployment, so one access point per classroom, and I'll click into it here to show you. Sure.
Something like our MR42 is a really great standard and going to provide full coverage for that classroom.
Okay.
So. We also just recently released our Wi-Fi 6 access points. So we have a 4x4 and an 8x8, but really where we see a lot of our K-12 standardizing on here is our MR42.
Okay.
And so, essentially putting this in a classroom, having anywhere from 25 to 40 students is going to provide the proper coverage for you guys.
Okay. As far as like each student having a device accessing the AP?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Absolutely.
That's pretty good.
So if you would like, I know you guys this is a part of your summer project on getting those computers set up. I would be more than happy to send you an MR42. It's usually a 14-day trial, but I can always extend that out. So if you just let me know, Robert, when you're getting that set up, I'll send you one of these too, so you can test alongside that.
Okay, I'm probably thinking July is probably the best time frame, the beginning of July.
Okay, perfect.
So I am interested in that, and
okay. Yeah, so let's plan for beginning of July. We can hop on another call. We'll get that trial sent out to you, and then just kind of evaluate where we're at and what the next steps are.
Okay.
All right, Robert. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
No problems. Thank you. I appreciate the demo and all the information and answering my questions. So I look forward to doing something that will help our school out. So thank you so much.
Of course, Robert. I hope you have a great day. And if you have any questions, just let me know.
Great. Thank you so much, Natalie.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.